If you're a healer, if you're a starseed, if you're a light worker, or you know you're here to shift the consciousness on the earth at this time, you may have experienced money blocks on your journey. There's this idea that as soon as you decide to walk in your calling, walk in your purpose, that you have to give up all of your stability and all of your security. And on a certain realm, that's true. There is a certain point where you have to go through a dark arts training of letting go and shedding a lot of your old life. And a lot of that has to do with your concepts around money, or maybe money itself. But I'm talking beyond that. I'm talking about if you are constantly caught up in traumatic cycles of lack and scarcity, and you also are carrying that from your lineage as well. You probably have a big mission. You probably want to impact a lot of folks, and you will need the resources to make that happen. And that's going to come from an abundance consciousness, okay? So a lot of us are here with really specific roles and missions to create new structures and new institutions that are more enlightened. And that means access to resources. But here's the thing, there have been a lot of spells on money. And I want to single out the US dollar right now. I got $1, y'all. I'm international right now, so I've traded in all my other US dollars. But I got this one. And I always look at the dollar a little differently when I'm abroad. So this is a US dollar. The US is very far from Egypt, and yet we got this little Egyptian pyramid on our dollar with the all-seeing eye, which is really interesting. I also got a chance to visit the Fed, where they actually make money, and visit their money museum there about a week ago. So I got a little intimate look around how the dollar is made and circulated. Interestingly enough, this dollar is made out of cotton, which is really interesting because of the U.S. history around slavery and cotton. And the invention of the cotton gin was a huge game changer when it came to the way that Americans perceived work and productivity. I talk about that more in my book, The Grind Culture Detox. So check that out if you're interested in learning more. But there's definitely some spell work on the dollar. I mean, it's right in your face. You got ancient Egyptian pyramids on it for some reason. Is there a logical reason for that? So when you're really thinking about, calling in abundance as the healer and world changer that you are, don't just do the abundance rituals. You're also going to have to break the oaths, vows, and agreements that you have made with money. Some of us have taken on oaths, vows, and agreements of poverty. Maybe this was from a past life or from a current life. And until we revoke those vows, we're going to keep manifesting those impoverished situations in our lives. Others of us are just under the collective consciousness vows of scarcity. So for example, when I was at the Money Museum and at the Fed, learning more about how money is circulated, one major thing that I learned outside of the whole cotton thing was that money, the people who work at the Fed are very much in charge of maintaining a scarcity consciousness, limiting how the dollar is circulated so that there's just enough, quote unquote, for the economy to remain stable, okay? However, when they think of stability, they're thinking about it very much from a scarcity framework. And we are moving into an abundance consciousness. So as we become more activated to source consciousness as a collective, we're going to realize how much is available for all. There doesn't need to be scarcity. A really great example of this is the work and research of Nikola Tesla, and the way he was basically scapegoated for his work of trying to bring free energy onto the planet before its time. And those ideas are going to be much harder to suppress in the years to come. We're already seeing rumblings of this with workers' rights movements happening right now, people wanting to work less and not necessarily having to work in order to thrive within society. We're seeing this more with the perpetuation and the growth of AI and this whole threat of taking over the jobs of humans. So this is a very potent topic. And so one thing, if you're feeling a little bogged down and oppressed by this toxic web, I would definitely start with just revoking the vows, oaths, and agreements that you've made with the egregore of money. An egregore is basically just like a thought form that's powered up by the collective consciousness. And so any thought form that is believed by enough people is given life and turned into an entity. So money itself is an entity. So really start examining money as like a living, breathing being, and consider the vows, oaths, and agreements that you may have made with it or that you may have inherited from your bloodline, and really start working on that process of shedding those layers.